My friend, life has a way of weighing us down. Burdens pile high, dreams are delayed, and we begin to feel as though we are pushing against walls that will never move. In those moments, the human heart longs for breakthrough, a shift, a release, a fresh start that opens the door to a brighter tomorrow. But hear me today, your breakthrough does not begin with striving harder, running faster, or holding tighter. Your breakthrough begins with surrender. Surrender is not defeat. It is not weakness. It is not throwing your hands up in despair. Surrender is a holy act, a sacred turning point where you stop trying to carry the weight of the world on your own and instead place it into the hands of the one who can carry all things. When you release control, when you say, "Lord, I cannot do this without you," the power of heaven begins to move on your behalf. That moment of surrender is not the end. It is the beginning. Think about the seed planted in the soil. To the eye, it appears buried, lifeless, forgotten. But beneath the soil, something is happening. The shell of the seed breaks, and only then can life push through the ground. Without breaking, there can be no breakthrough. In the same way, when you surrender, the old shell of self-reliance cracks, and the life God has placed within you begins to rise. You may feel pressed down by circumstances, but God is preparing you for growth. Some of you have been fighting battles for years, trying to fix a broken relationship, trying to overcome addiction, trying to silence the voice of guilt and shame. You have tried everything in your own strength, yet the cycle continues. And perhaps you are tired, but I say to you, tiredness is not always your enemy. It can be the invitation to stop striving and start trusting. When you finally lay down the weapons of self-effort, you open your hands to receive God's victory. Your surrender becomes the soil where His power takes root. Surrender also means releasing the past. Many of us carry wounds from yesterday, replaying mistakes, reliving failures, dragging chains that were never meant to be carried. The enemy wants you to believe your past defines you. But when you surrender your past to God, those chains are broken. The blood of Christ washes away guilt. The love of God heals wounds, and the Spirit breathes new life into weary hearts. Your history does not have to be your destiny. Breakthrough also begins with the surrender of timing. We often demand answers on our schedule. We say, "Lord, I need this today. I need this fixed tomorrow." But God works in seasons. Just as winter gives way to spring at the appointed time, so your breakthrough comes in God's perfect moment. Waiting is not wasted time when you are in His hands. Every delay can be preparation, every pause can be a lesson, and every setback can be a setup for what is coming next. When you surrender your timetable, you align yourself with His. Do not mistake surrender for inactivity. It does not mean you sit in hopelessness doing nothing. Surrender means you exchange your strength for His strength, your wisdom for His guidance, your fear for His peace. You still take steps forward, but now you walk with a lighter burden because you know the outcome is not dependent on you alone. God goes before you, and His hand steadies you. Think of the countless stories of breakthrough in Scripture: walls falling, seas parting, prisons opening. None of those victories came because of human strength alone. They came when people placed their trust in God, when they surrendered their strategies and obeyed His voice. The same God who split the sea and shook the prison walls is the same God who can move in your life today. But He asks for your heart, your trust, your surrender. Perhaps you are facing a mountain that feels immovable. Perhaps you have prayed and seen no change. Do not give up now. Surrender again today. Whisper in faith, "Lord, I give you this burden. I trust you with my life. I lay down my will so your will can be done." That prayer may feel small, but it shakes the heavens. The moment you surrender is the moment your breakthrough begins. So I say to you, stop clinging to fear, stop clutching to control, stop carrying burdens that are too heavy for your shoulders. Lift your eyes and open your hands. The God who created the universe is ready to fight for you, to lift you, to break the chains, and to open doors no man can shut. Your part is to surrender. His part is to bring the breakthrough, And when it comes, you will know it was not by your strength, but by His power, and you will never be the same again. Life is filled with seasons, and not all of them are easy. There are moments when the sun shines, when the road is smooth, and when everything seems to fall into place. But there are also seasons when the skies turn dark, when the ground beneath us feels unsteady, and when hope itself seems to fade. Many ask in those moments, "Why must I go through this? Why does it feel as if I am buried under the weight of life?" Yet I tell you today, those dark seasons are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to prepare you. They are not the end of your story. They are the soil in which God plants the seeds of your greatest breakthrough. Think of the seed that is pressed into the ground. To the natural eye, it looks as if it has been buried, hidden, and forgotten. But within that seed lies life. In the darkness of the soil, it breaks open, roots take hold, and life begins to push upward. That seed could never grow if it remained on the surface, exposed to the sunlight too soon. It needed the depth of the soil, the pressure of the earth, and the hidden season of waiting before it could rise. And so it is with us. Sometimes what feels like your burial is not your ending, but your planting. God is doing something in the unseen that will prepare you for the light you are destined to walk in. Too often we confuse silence with absence. We cry out in the night and hear nothing, and we believe we are alone. But in those moments, God is nearer than you think. He is shaping you, strengthening you, teaching you to trust Him in ways you could never learn on the mountaintop. A faith that is never tested is a faith that remains shallow. But a faith that endures the storm becomes strong, unshakable, and unbreakable. When you walk through a dark season, you are not being punished, you are being prepared. Some of you may be in that season right now. You feel buried under disappointment, weighed down by failure, or trapped in silence where answers seem delayed. You may be asking yourself, "How long must I wait? When will this end?" But do not despise the waiting. Do not curse the soil that surrounds you, for in that hidden place, God is doing His deepest work. He is pruning away what cannot remain, and He is building within you the strength you will need for the journey ahead. There is purpose in the pain, though you may not see it yet. Look back at your life. Have you not endured storms before? Have you not walked through valleys you thought would destroy you, only to come out stronger? Every scar tells a story, and every tear waters the soil of your growth. What you thought would break you has, in truth, built you, and what feels like a season of endings may very well be the foundation of a brand new beginning. Even nature itself teaches us this truth. The night always gives way to morning. Winter always yields to spring. The barren tree that stands lifeless in the cold will blossom again when the appointed time arrives. Do not believe that your winter will last forever. The very fact that you are still here is proof that God is not finished with you yet. The same God who painted the sunrise after the night will bring light into your life again. Your breakthrough often comes when you least expect it. A door opens you never imagined. A burden lifts you thought would crush you. A strength rises in you that you didn't know you had. That is the power of God at work in your life. He takes what was meant for harm and turns it into good. He takes the ashes of your pain and transforms them into beauty. He takes your darkest night and uses it to prepare you for the brightest dawn. So do not give up in the soil. Do not give in to despair. When the enemy whispers that it's over, remember the seed. When fear tells you that you've been buried, remind yourself that you've only been planted. You are destined to rise, to break through the soil, and to reach for the light that awaits you. The dark seasons of life may feel endless, but they are temporary. The lessons they teach you, the strength they give you, and the faith they build within you are eternal. Trust the process. Trust the one who holds your life in His hands, for just as surely as morning follows night, your breakthrough will come. The ground that once pressed against you will one day testify to the life that has grown from within you. Take courage, for this season will pass, And when it does, you will look back and say, "The darkness prepared me for the light. The waiting prepared me for the breakthrough. The pain prepared me for the joy." Your story is not ending here. It is only beginning, and your breakthrough, my friend, is closer than you think. There are moments in life when we come face to face with barriers that seem immovable. The mountain stands tall before us, the river looks too wide to cross, and the storm around us appears too fierce to endure. In those moments, fear whispers, "You cannot make it. This is where it ends." But faith speaks louder. Faith declares, with God, all things are possible. And it is in that moment of belief that the impossible becomes possible. Faith is not a feeling. Faith is not wishful thinking. Faith is confidence in the God who never fails. It is the assurance that His word is true, that His promises will stand, and that His power is greater than any obstacle. Many people live bound by what they can see, measuring their future by their present circumstances. But faith looks beyond the visible and trusts the unseen hand of God working behind the scenes. When you look back at the pages of history, you will find that every breakthrough began with faith. The walls of Jericho did not fall because of human strength. They fell because a people dared to believe that God's command was enough. David did not slay Goliath because he was the strongest on the battlefield. He conquered because he trusted in the Lord, who was stronger than any giant. Time and again, the impossible was unlocked by faith. Perhaps today you feel as though your situation has no answer. The doctor's report is grim, the financial burden is crushing, the relationship seems too broken to repair. But let me remind you, faith is the key that opens doors no man can shut. Faith does not deny the reality of the problem, but it lifts its eyes to a greater reality, the power of God, and when faith is activated, chains break, mountains move, and new paths appear where none seem to exist. Too often, people give up right before the breakthrough comes. They grow weary, they lose heart, and they lay down the very faith that could have carried them through. You may not see results overnight. You may not feel progress every day. But faith is not based on what is visible in the moment. It is rooted in the certainty that God is faithful and He cannot fail. Think of the seed buried in the soil. For days, nothing appears to change. Beneath the surface, however, something powerful is happening. Roots are taking hold, life is forming, and soon the green shoot breaks through the ground. That is how faith works. While you may see no evidence with your eyes, God is moving in ways unseen, preparing the very breakthrough you have been praying for. Faith also requires action. It is not enough to simply believe in the mind. Faith moves the heart to trust and the hands to obey. When the Israelites marched around Jericho, their steps were a demonstration of faith. When Peter stepped out of the boat to walk on water, his decision was fueled by faith. God honors faith that acts, faith that steps forward even when the path is unclear, faith that chooses obedience even when fear is loud. And let me say this, faith does not make life free of challenges. You will still face trials, you will still encounter storms, you will still feel the weight of waiting. But faith gives you the strength to endure, the courage to press on, and the hope to see beyond the present pain. It unlocks the impossible not by removing every obstacle, but by carrying you through them with the assurance that you are not alone. Some of you have been holding on for years, praying for an answer, waiting for a change. Do not let go now. Your faith is not in vain. The God who hears every prayer and sees every tear is still working. What seems delayed is not denied. At the appointed time, breakthrough will come, not by your strength, but by His. The enemy will try to convince you that your faith is wasted, that nothing will change, that your story is already finished. But let me tell you, as long as there is breath in your lungs and God's promises over your life, the story is not over. Faith has the final word, and faith unlocks the impossible. So lift your head even if it feels heavy. Keep praying even when the answer seems far away. Keep trusting even when the night is long. For the God who parted the sea, who raised the dead, who fed the multitudes, is the same God today. And he has not forgotten you. Your breakthrough may be closer than you realize. Your miracle may be right on the other side of your persistence. Hold fast to faith, for it is the key to unlock what the world calls impossible. And when it happens, when the doors open, when the chains fall, you will know it was never your strength, but always his power. Faith will unlock the impossible, and your life will never be the same again. There are moments in life when we stand at the edge of hope, waiting, wondering, questioning why the answer has not yet come. We pray, we plead, we push with all our might, and yet the doors remain shut. It is in these moments of delay that our faith is truly tested. Many times we confuse delay with denial, but the truth is that delay is often God's way of preparing us. His silence is not absence, and his waiting is not weakness. God's timing is always perfect, and when his hand moves, it moves with precision, power, and purpose. We live in a world where people want everything instantly. We rush, we hurry, and we grow restless when things do not unfold according to our schedules. But God does not work according to the clock we hold in our hands. He works according to eternity. He sees the end from the beginning, the unseen from the seen, and he knows when the moment is right to bring the breakthrough you have been longing for. Just as the sun rises at its appointed time, and no force on earth can hurry or delay it, so does God's will unfold in your life. When we look at the lives of those who came before us, we find a common thread. Their breakthroughs came after waiting. Joseph dreamed of greatness as a young man, yet he was betrayed, enslaved, and imprisoned. For years he must have wondered if God had forgotten him. But at the appointed time, when famine swept across the land, God raised Joseph from the prison to the palace. What seemed like wasted years were actually preparation years. The delay was not punishment, it was positioning. The same is true for Abraham. He was promised a son, yet decades passed without the fulfillment of that promise. Every year must have felt like a knife cutting deeper into his hope. But in God's perfect time, Isaac was born, and through him came a covenant blessing that touched the world. God's timing never missed a beat. What looked like a long, barren season was actually the soil from which faith grew stronger. Perhaps you are in a place where prayers feel unanswered, where dreams feel distant, and where the weight of waiting presses down on your heart. You may be tempted to give up, to think that the promise was never meant for you. But remember, a delay is not the end of the story. God is aligning people, places, and circumstances you cannot see. He is working behind the curtain of your life, and when the moment is right, he will pull back the veil, and you will see that every tear, every trial, and every long night had a purpose. There is beauty in God's timing, because it not only brings the blessing, but also prepares us to carry it. If you receive what you long for too early, it may crush you. But when you are ready, the same blessing will lift you. Waiting molds the heart, strengthens faith, and teaches trust. It shapes us into people who do not just desire the gift, but also understand the giver. Think of a child who longs to drive a car. The father may have the keys, the car may be ready, and the road may be clear, but the father withholds because the child is not yet mature enough. If he hands over the keys too soon, it may end in disaster. But when the child has grown, when they are ready, the keys are given with joy, and the blessing becomes a blessing indeed. In the same way, God waits until the time is right, not only for the promise to be fulfilled, but for us to be ready to receive it. And when God moves, he moves suddenly. Years of waiting can turn into a moment of victory. The prison doors can swing open in an instant. The healing that seemed delayed for decades can come in a single touch. The relationship you prayed for can arrive when you least expect it. Suddenly, what seemed impossible becomes undeniable because the one who holds time has stepped into your situation. So do not despair in the waiting. Do not measure God's love by how quickly He answers your prayer. His timing is not meant to frustrate you, but to bless you. Trust Him when the night feels long. Believe Him when the silence grows heavy. And hold fast to His promises, because He who has spoken will surely fulfill it. Your breakthrough will not come 1 second too early or 1 second too late. It will come right on time, and when it does, you will look back on every delay and see that it was not wasted time. It was holy time. Time where God was shaping you, protecting you, and preparing you. And in that moment, you will understand that His timing was, and always will be, perfect.